Hello everyone, my name is Midshipman Darwin Lawrence R. Albo of MTR 8-1A, and today I would be showing you the procedures of appraisal stage, in which consists about the preparation of nautical publications and necessary informations that would be needed on creating our own passage planning. Now, let's begin. Now, here is our situation given. Our vessel is currently discharging 30,000 metric tons of coal in Algeciras, Gibraltar. At the moment, our vessel also received voyage instructions from the charterer to move and proceed to the port of Singapore for loading after the completion of discharging operation. The master asks you to appraise all relevant informations and requirements that the vessel will use, including all nautical publications that is essential to safely proceed on your loading port. So, the first step of appraisal. As we seek to find necessary informations, the first step we need to do is find and look for nautical publications, like the Admiralty Sailing Directions, or ASD. Why? It's because the Admiralty Sailing Directions include numerous type of informations about risks associated navigation, port facilities, coastline features, and relevant data related to certain regions of the world's oceans and seas. Second is the mariner's tool for planning and conducting safe voyages are invaluable. Sailing directions are one of the factors to be considered to have much efficient navigational passage planning. Nautical publications needed for the areas we are proceeding into. There are lots of nautical publications that is needed on our passage planning, and it starts with the NP45, which is also called the Mediterranean Pilot Volume 17 edition of 2021. Next is the NP45 Mediterranean Pilot 15th edition of 2020, including some other publications, which is NP64 or Red Sea and Gulf of Aden Pilot 20th edition of 2021, NP38 or West Coast of India Pilot 20th edition 2023, NP21 or Bay of Bengal Pilot 13th edition of 2019, even NP44 or Malacca Strait and West Coast of Samaterra Pilot. The next procedure we must do as soon as we've gathered all the necessary informations on the ASD is to have an eye on the Admiralty list of lights and signals. The Admiralty list of lights and signals has the coverage of numerous areas and specified regions of the whole world. The volumes that are published and compiled contains details of all the navigational aids, including their attributes, positions, and other relevant informations like fog signal specifications can be found in the Admiralty list of lights and signals. We will go through regions 4, 5, and 6. So as we talk about those regions, you might be wondering the areas from which it covers. So Area 4 covers the Mediterranean and Black Seas. At Area 5 covers Indian Ocean, northern part, and Red Sea. While Area 6 covers Singapore to Japan. The objective of this list is to provide sailors with valuable information about every navigational aid they may come across on their way. It helps them to sail safely in those areas by showing them the properties and positions of navigational aids as well as other necessary details such as fog signals. As we set sail on the seas, the important nautical publications needed for our passage plan is the Admiralty list of light and fog signals. Admiralty list of lights and fog signals that is needed. First is the Volume E West Mediterranean NP78 4th edition of 2023. Admiralty list lights and fog signals. Volume N East Mediterranean and Black Seas NP86 4th edition 2023. Admiralty list of lights and fog signals. Volume D Eastern Atlantic, Western Indian, Arabian and Red Seas. NP77, 4th edition, 2023. Admiralty List, Lights and Fog Signals, Volume F, NE, Indian O, Central part of China. And East. NE, China E, Archipelagic Seas, NP79, 2023 edition. The next nautical publication that we are needing to use is Admiralty Tides and Tables, also known as the ATT. The informations we need at this publication are Volume 8, Southeast Atlantic Ocean, West Africa, and Mediterranean, NP 208. Admiralty Tide Tables, Volume 3, Indian Ocean, including tidal streams tables, or NP 203. Admiralty Tide Tables, Volume 5, South, China Sea, and Indonesia, including the tidal streams tables, or NP 205. We have gathered the necessary information at the Admiralty Tides and Tables. We must now focus on getting information for radio signals on Admiralty List of Radio Signals. Let us now proceed. The Admiralty List of Radio Signals contains specific information for us to have efficient communication by means of using radiology. The publication, Admiralty List of Radio Signals, or ADRS, includes the informations about right frequency, specified radio stations, even the proper protocols and regulations to be reached and followed. The nautical publications that we are having or applicable to use on our passage plan is the volume 1, 3, 4, 5 in the areas 1 and 2. Here are the specific informations needed. The publications we need are the ADRS Volume 2, which covers Area 1, UK, Europe, Africa, and parts of Asia. Area 2, Americas, parts of Asia, and Australasia. The ADRS Volume 6 covers the Area 4, Mediterranean and Black Seas. Area 5, Red Sea, the Gulf and Indian Ocean, northern part. Area 6, Singapore to Sea of Okhotsk and Philippines, west coast. The nautical publications we should use for our radio signals is the nautical publication for radio signals. The publication we must use is the Admiralty List, Radio Signals, ALRS, Volume 6, Part 3, Mediterranean Sea, Black Sea, Red Sea, and Africa, or NP 286, Part 3, 4th edition, 2023, Volume 6, Part 8, Africa, excluding Mediterranean coast, Red Sea, and the Persian Gulf, or NP 286, Part 8, 2023 edition, Volume 6, Part 4, Indian Subcontinent, Southeast Asia, and Australasia, which is also called NP 286, Part 4 edition of 2023. As we have gathered needed publications on the ADRS, or Admiralty List of Radio Signals, we are also need to determine which navtex, or navigational telex regions and stations that are relevant to our route for passage planning. Navtex provides critical safety information warnings and weather forecasts to mariner at sea. We must also evaluate Inmarsat Sea coverage for our intended voyage. Inmarsat Sea is a satellite-based communication system that delivers reliable and cost-effective communication services for both vessels and land-based locations. Our next information to gather after ADRS is the navtex for our passage planning. Like I've said, the navtex provides critical safety information warnings and weather forecasts to mariners at sea. We must also evaluate Inmarsat Sea coverage for our intended voyage. Inmarsat Sea is a satellite-based communication system that delivers reliable and cost-effective communication services for both vessels and land-based locations. For our navtex areas and stations, what publications are applicable for us to use? So, here is the publications we need. The navtex areas are the X4, X5, X6, and X7. The navtex stations is located at Tarifa, Burj Al Ghifan, Kilibya, Kerkira, Algeciras, Batam Point, Keating Point, Penang, and Singapore. There are also possible added inclusion of publication to be used such as nav areas, nav area 3 Spain, nav area 9 Pakistan, nav area 8 India, and nav area 11 Japan. For our Inmarsat coverage, we will have to use the Indian Ocean regions, Pacific Ocean regions. Some difference. In terms of time zones, there's a difference between Gibraltar and Singapore. Gibraltar is 1 hour behind GMT, while Singapore is 8 hours behind GMT. Therefore, Singapore is 7 hours ahead of Gibraltar. Knowing the present time zone of each places and areas is a must for us to be able to calculate when and what time we are approaching or arriving at the areas. Anchorage and position of ship. Right after finding the correct time zone, we are now proceeding on the anchorage and position of ship. For vessel in Gibraltar is 36 degrees, 19 minutes, decimal 57 north, 5 degrees, 25 minutes, decimal 40 west. While for Singapore, anchorage position is western anchorage with a position of 1 degrees, 40 minutes, decimal 40 north, and 103 degrees, 49 minutes, decimal 68 east. After getting the anchorage position in each places, we are now proceeded to know the VHF and BTS channels we are required to use in Gibraltar and Singapore. In Gibraltar, we are able to use the channels 12 and 16. For Singapore, the channels we are required to use is the channel 20. BTS channel in Gibraltar consists of channel 12 and 16. But in Singapore, the required BTS channels are 73, 14, and 10. As we have gathered the needed information for VHF and VTS channels for Gibraltar and Singapore, we are now looking for the pilot boarding on ships. The pilot boarding areas, even the position of the ships. Pilot boarding areas of Gibraltar and Singapore. The boarding areas coordinates of Gibraltar are 36 degrees, 06 minutes, 00 north, and 5 degrees, 22 minutes, 00 west. While for Singapore, the pilot boarding area is located at Western Boarding Ground A, with the coordinates 1 degrees, 12 minutes, decimal 91 north, and 103 degrees, 36 minutes, decimal 07 east. Other resources that we will consult for our passage plan includes the Mariner's Handbook, the Notices to Mariners, Ship Routing, and Ocean Passages of the World. The Mariner's Handbook, or NP100, is crucial for sailors because it helps them understand navigation, weather, ice conditions, and rules while at sea. It's a respected book used by many maritime schools and organizations. The Notice to Mariners is super important because it tells sailors about things like where to find navigation aids, danger in the water, and other important marine news. These notices help the sailors to stay safe by letting them know about temporary changes like hazards or problems with navigation aids. Ship routing is important for planning journeys because it helps ships navigate safely and efficiently in busy or tricky areas. By following set routes, ships can avoid accidents, steer clear of dangers, and make their trip safer and faster. Also, ship routing helps ships follow rules, navigate through restricted zones, and lessen harm to the environment. Overall, the ship routing is key for making the sea travel safer and planning voyages easier. The ocean passages of the world help passage planning on sea journeys by providing safe, efficient routes that meet regulations. Factors like safety, rules, navigation aids, business needs, environment, and emergency response are considered to ensure successful and sustainable voyages.